So, you're a teacher. Are you feeling just buried under an absolute avalanche of educational apps? It seems like every single day there's some new tool promising to be a total game changer. But how do you know what's actually worth your time? Well, in this explainer, we're going to cut right through all that noise. I'm going to give you a simple, smart guide to make EdTech your ally, not just another thing on your to-do list. Let's dive in. Okay, so here's our game plan. First, we're going to tackle that feeling of being completely overwhelmed. I know it's real. Then, I'm going to arm you with a super powerful 5-point evaluation framework. After that, we'll get practical and look at some essential tools, talk about how to make all this manageable for the long run, and finally, we'll pinpoint the single first step you can take, like today. First things first, if you feel like you are drowning in options, you are so not alone. Seriously, the market is just flooded with new tools every year, and every single one of them promises to be the next big thing. The real challenge, and our focus here, is learning how to separate the hype from what actually helps students learn. And that brings us to maybe the most important question you can possibly ask yourself. Is this new, shiny tool actually going to help you with your learning objectives? Is it going to support your curriculum? Or is it just adding another layer of complexity for no good reason? The key, and you always have to remember this, is to start with the pedagogy, not the product. So to help you make those smart choices, we need a framework. I want you to think of this checklist as your map and compass for the EdTech wilderness. It's a simple 5-point evaluation that you can literally apply to any tool you're thinking about using. Let's break this down. First up, ease of use. I mean, if you and your students need a whole week of training just to figure it out, it's a no-go. Learning time is way too precious. Second, pedagogical value. Does it actually deepen their understanding, or is it just a fancy digital worksheet? We'll circle back to this one. Third, accessibility. Can every single one of your students use it and benefit from it? Fourth, and this is a big one, data privacy. We have to be the guardians of our students' information. And finally, cost versus benefit. Is the outcome you get truly worth the school's money? And let's be honest, more importantly, your time. Okay, let's zoom in on pedagogical value, because this right here is where the magic happens. Look at the two sides. A great tool, it almost feels invisible. It enhances the lesson. It pulls students in. A bad tool does the complete opposite. It becomes the focus of the lesson. You know you're in trouble when you find yourself teaching the tool instead of the topic. That is your red flag to reconsider. All right, let's switch gears from theory to practice. We've got our evaluation framework down, so now let's look at a few categories of essential tools and, more importantly, how to use them effectively. Time to open up the digital toolkit. You know, it really helps to think of these platforms by their main job. You've got your assignment hubs like Google Classroom. Then you've got your tools for making lessons really interactive, like Nearpod or Pear Deck. For student portfolios and reflection, something like Seesaw is fantastic. And for keeping parents in the loop, you have Remind or Class Dojo. Just knowing their core purpose helps you pick the right tool for the right task. Simple. So let's take a tool many of us use, Google Classroom, and put some of this thinking into action. A few small strategic habits can make a huge difference. Use topics to organize everything and prevent that digital clutter. Attach a rubric to every assignment so expectations are crystal clear from the start. And please, when you share a template, always click Make a Copy for each student to avoid total chaos. A little pro tip for your own sanity, schedule your posts in advance. It's a lifesaver. Now, for those quick check-ins or a fun review, tools like Kahoot are just fantastic. But to really get the most out of them, keep your questions short and sweet. Use images or even memes to grab their attention. Set a quick time limit, to keep the energy up. And here's a feature I love. Use ghost mode. It lets students compete against their own best score from last time. It's such a great way to focus on personal growth instead of just beating their classmates. And then you have a tool like Padlet, which really shows how one platform can do so many different things. Think of it like a digital Swiss Army knife. Need a chaotic, creative, all ideas on the table brainstorm? Use the wall layout. Want to sequence events for a story or a history lesson? Stream is perfect for that. Need to sort ideas into different columns? That's what Grid is for. And Timeline is an absolute game changer for project-based learning. Okay, so you've picked a few good tools. Now, how do you actually integrate them without completely burning out? This part is all about making your tech use sustainable for the long haul. I want to pause on this for a second because this is probably the single most important piece of advice in this entire explainer. The goal is depth, not breadth. Resisting that temptation to jump on every new shiny thing and instead becoming an expert in one or two really high-impact tools, that is going to serve you and your students so much better in the long run. So here are a few final strategies for long-term success. First, lay the groundwork. Set up clear digital citizenship rules before you do anything else. Second, and trust me on this, always have a non-tech backup plan for when the Wi-Fi inevitably dies. Third, don't reinvent the wheel. Reuse and adapt activities that work. And finally, listen to your users. Just ask your students what's actually helping them learn. Their feedback is pure gold. We have covered a lot of ground, from navigating the maze to using specific tools really effectively. So now, let's bring it all home and translate all this knowledge into one simple, immediate action you can take. This is it. This is your action plan. And it's designed to be completely non-intimidating, I promise. First, just pick one tool. Not 5, not 10, just one. Next, watch a quick 10-minute tutorial on it. Then create one simple activity with it. After that, and this is the most important part, test it out with your students and really listen to what they have to say. And finally, you just refine it for next time. That's it. It's a manageable cycle of just getting a little bit better each time. So as we wrap things up here, I'll leave you with this one question. After everything we've talked about, from the evaluation checklist to all the practical tips, what will your one tool, your one activity, your one first step be? Making that choice is the real start of taking control of technology in your classroom. Thanks so much for joining me.